I'm Jesse.
Hi, I'm Cameron.
And it's time for Lumberjack!
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
We're high above Truro, Nova Scotia, just about an hour outside of Halifax for the Nova Scotia Professional Lumberjack Championships. We got 30 competitors competing for $6,000 in prize money in 12 different events. Hi, I'm Bill Diva with my co-host Lumberjack sport analyst Rod Cumberland. Rod, we had a great start to the competition last week. We had the standing block chop and the men's single buck. This week we're changing gears a little bit. It's the women's single buck.
Women's single buck, and if you look at the slated ladies that are competing today, we have all of them graduates of the Dalhousie Agricultural Campus. But the one to watch in the single buck will be Kelly Bonus. She's really strong in that event.
Well, Truro, Nova Scotia is a town of about 12,000 people. It's also known as the hub of Nova Scotia, about an hour outside of Halifax, with the Salmon River running right through town. Now, it's Ryan McIntyre that put this competition together, and he's had the entire community rally around with a lot of sponsorship support. One of those sponsors, the Cat Shack, has allowed us to use their parking lot. And we have the overall standings right now with Marcel Dupuis leading the way with a 75-point bulge over Nathan Cumberland, Nathan's older brother. Ben Cumberland, you see him right there, 100 points behind Marcel. Dave Patrickman and Scott Reed still in the mix. We're going to get started with the Springboard Chop and total. We're going to be showing you the top 3 heats. And this first heat's going to feature Berlin Nickerson and Trevor Schofield. And I think they're shopping 9 inches round, 10 inches round top, Rod?
It's actually 10 inches around at the top here, so it's a little bit longer when they get on their top board, so they'll be taking lots of time on their first board, making sure their second pocket is done well.
Now, Trevor Schofield's one of those guys who was born and raised in the Maritimes, went out west, spent a little bit of time out there, continued with Lumberjack Sports, always back in the Maritimes.
Yeah, both these young fellows at the family rearing time, so of course they each have 3 kids and they travel around, bring the families with them. Both in good shape, though, as they get set to go here, making their second notch.
A little bit of a questionable notch there for Berlin Nickerson on the first one. You can see he left a little bit of wood chips in the bottom of his pocket there, and his board is sagging as a result of that.
Oh, and a little bit of trouble here, though. Berlin's gone nice and deep here on the outside of his pole, so it'll be fine. You can see Trevor here, he's getting in some punky wood on the inside of his log, so he's got to go a little bit deeper to make sure that board's going to hold him when he gets up to the top.
Good, clean, comfortable board for Berlin Nickerson. Looks like a pretty good board there for Trevor as he gets on his second board. Both guys are into the wood up top.
So it's going to be an axe race here to the finish as they get into their log. Oh, and look at that. Berlin Nickerson opens up to a big knot here in the face of his log.
He's got to go really wide to punch that out. It's probably going to slow him down a little bit, and it works in the mind a little bit as well, doesn't it?
Typically, you have in your mind how you're going to work your pattern, and then, of course, you open up to a knot, and, of course, you're thinking on the fly here. Where am I going to put my next few swings? Can I punch that knot out of there? And, of course, he's done a good job that the knot was in the middle of his log is actually a good thing because he can actually chop around it.
Good clean lines there by Trevor Schofield. He's in pretty good shape as well. You can see him picking up the pace, but it's Nickerson that turns first on the backside. He takes one chip out. Now he's putting some drivers in.
He's not as comfortable on his backside here, swinging ambidextrous, but Trevor cleaning out that firewood, which is exactly what you got to do. Is Berlin Nickerson is driving it off here, and he's going to set the time to beat in the springboard with a time of 1 minute 25.3.
I know that guys regularly take risks in their first notch because you don't spend a lot of time there. Are you familiar with the fact that your board dropped out just as you dropped off?
I obviously felt that one, yes, yeah. That was a surprise.
I think you only took 4 hits, so you were 4 and up, right?
Yeah.
And just tell me, I mean, you've been out of the game for a little bit of time. On the Springboard Chop, what's the first thing that tends to go?
Your mind. But, it's so much going on. Pockets, boards, swinging up there, and it's just hard to keep your mind in the game the whole time. And it's a long chop, so you can tell him how to win, so.
Well, Rod, looking at that replay, you can see that Berlin clearly left a couple of pieces of wood, small pieces of wood, in the back of his notch.
You want the notch to come to a nice V because, of course, you don't have a whole lot of room for that shoe to slide right to the back of the notch, which is where you want it. If it sticks out a little bit, of course, it's going to have a bit of a sag to it, a lot greater chance of that log splitting.
Well, heat number 2 in the Springboard Chop here at the Nova Scotia Lumberjack Championships. Right now, the time to beat is 1:25.31, set by Berlin Nickerson. This heat featuring Donald Lambert, Ben Cumberland, and Scott Reed.
Pretty neat to watch Ben here. Ben is a really good notch maker. He usually can get it done in 4 or 6. He's up and climbs really quickly, but then, of course, because he's scared of heights, he slows down when he starts chopping at the top.
Lambert is right with them. Both guys good sets on the first boards. Second notch here by Ben. He knows he's got to clean it all the way to the V.
And Don Lambert making a good notch here. Looks like a 4-stroke pocket as he sets board number 2. Ben setting board 2. We're going to have a great race here at the top.
Scott Reed struggling on the right-hand side there. It's going to be a 2-horse race. Lambert taking on Cumberland. Cumberland into the wood. Don Lambert almost loses his balance and almost falls backwards there.
You can see on Ben's log here, he's got a big knot. He wants to stay a little bit above, make sure he stays in clean wood. But we've got a great race here as Ben is getting into the small wood on the front now. He needs to reach and clean up the far wood before he swings around to side number 2.
That last shot showed exactly the difference between the boards. Ben's got a great board set. He's able to put a lot of powerful strokes in. Donald is sagging a lot. He's got to crunch up close to the tree, and he, again, almost loses his balance.
Don having a hard time here, really struggling. The springboard chop is quite abnormal for Don. As Ben gets into slicing off the far wood here, he needs to reach about 2 more inches as Donald cleans out his far wood, gets ready to turn to the second side.
Ben's trying to reach over to the far wood. Maybe he should be taking a chip out right now. Keeps hitting the same spot, not moving the wood. Don Lambert has made his turn over the backside. He's trying to catch Ben.
Well, there's 2 techniques you can do in the back. You can either slice it off or else do what Donald's doing here is actually chop the back. Ben's chosen to slice here today. He's done both, but the slicing is not working here today for Ben as he can't reach that far wood here. It's finally off. Time of 1:31.3. He's not going to be too happy with that time.
He had a look of frustration on his face. I'm sure you're happy with your climbing, getting up there, but we want to talk about your backside up top there. Didn't want to chip it out at all?
No, I've been trying it a little bit at home, just with downward slicing motion like Jason Wynyard and the other guys. Seems to work if I reached my far wood, as it looked like a beaver kind of let loose up there, but yeah, I decided to switch to opposite hand swinging to try to reach the far stuff.
Well, Ben breaking a cardinal rule in lumberjack sports, changing your technique on the day of a show. Didn't pan out for him as he sits in second place. Berlin Nickerson sitting in first right now in the Springboard Chop.
Here's one of the sponsors of the competition, Kathy Cloutier from Northern Pulp.
Northern Pulp is part of the Paper Excellence Canada pulp mill family. We are the only mill in Eastern Canada for Paper Excellence. We provide pulp for clients throughout the world, in Europe as well as United States. The decision to sponsor the Nova Scotia Professional Lumberjack Championships was an easy one. We're a very strong, committed corporate sponsor to a variety of events, whether they're recreational or cultural. The return we get as a corporate entity is valuing our employees and what they do in and outside of their workplace. So it's part of being a good corporate citizen, but it's also taking an active interest in our employees and their families.
And many thanks to Kathy Cloutier and the support of Northern Pulp, one of the many sponsors helping to put this first annual Nova Scotia Lumberjack Championship together and inviting many of the finest athletes in all the Maritimes.
We got one of the best guys in Quebec, Don Lambert. Of course, we got the best in the Maritimes from PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, all here today in Truro. And we're going to see the next heat of the Springboard Chop, 3 of the finest springboard cutters, Muriel Bork, Nate Cumberland, Marcel Dupuis.
You know, a lot of people think these athletes are doing this for a living. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars in lumberjack sports. They're not. They're all going to jobs on Monday morning and working their 9 to 5s.
Exactly. Muriel Bork, when he wakes up, he's going to work at the Correctional Center down in Memram Cook. Nate Cumberland, he works as a grounds crew operator and at the forestry complex. Marcel Dupuis a firefighter. So you're right, these guys do something different from Monday to Friday. Then on the weekends, they pack the vehicles, drive long distances to go to shows like this. As we get started here, second heat of Springboard.
And big Nathan Cumberland's into his first notch. 4, 5, 6 swings, and he's up on his first board. Mario Bork right with him, leaving a little bit of wood there in the bottom of his pocket. Nathan must have done a little bit of cleaning out, maybe with his hands, pushing a few wood chips away.
Well, Mario left a little bit of a wall of wood in his first notch. I thought it might come back to haunt him and his board might swing spring out. But again, both guys working hard on their second notches here. Nathan's got it cleaned out nice and deep because he's got a little bit of bunky wood in there. Mario has a good board set. We're gonna have a great race here at the top.
All three boys making up their second board. Mario comfortable with his. Looks like Nathan's just getting set with his. And Marcel's got a great board on the right-hand side. It's a three-horse race.
Two big men there, and Marcel Dupuy and Nathan Cumberland. They have to go a little bit deeper on their top notches. Both guys really comfortable up there now and swinging hard.
Cumberland's got a good board. He's able to hit the wood really hard, but he's missing some lines a little bit.
Missing his lines because he actually set his block wrong on the top. He actually had it spun too far. As Marcel Dupuy gets into 2 knots on his top swings there, so he's got to move around those a little bit. As Nate gets over to the backside, he's going to be driving it off here. Good time. Nathan's almost sub 1 minute.
He's got that left-handed, cross-handed southpaw sort of approach. They're swinging the backside, and Nathan Cumberland wins the Springboard Chop at a time of 105.72. Marcel right behind him. Nate, you won that heat. Good battle with Mario and Marcel there, but you're telling me you weren't happy with your lines, eh?
No, I haven't had a lot of chance to practice springboard yet, and it's one that I really need to. And my pockets, neither of them were very clean. They were quite messy, but they held for up top, and I just went too fast up top. I should have slowed down, followed my lines, but a win's a win. So.
Were you thinking at the time that you were taking a bit of a risk with those pockets?
My top board, I did. I looked at the back, and there was still, ideally you want that board, the pocket to come right to a nice V, and there was still a little bit of wall of wood there, so I jammed it in. When I pushed down on it, I figured it was okay and it would hold, so.
Well, a lot of great axemen here in the Springboard Chop from all over the Maritimes. Look at the battle between 4th and 5th. Ben and Mario separated by less than a second, but it was big Nate Cumberland taking it. Well, here we are back at the first annual Nova Scotia Lumberjack Championships. Before the break, we had the men's Springboard Chop. We're changing gears quite a bit. We're heading into the women's single buck. A couple of heats we're going to show you. This first heat, Kyla Graham taking on Jessie Swinemer.
Both girls, of course, students at the Dalhousie Agriculture Campus right here in Truro. Kyla's graduated, but of course, Jessie Swinemer headed back there this fall, so this is going to be great practice for her.
Well, relatively new in the sport, and they're learning from a couple of veterans we're going to see in the next heat, but right now they're learning the sport, they're learning the single buck, and there certainly is a lot going on here.
There is a lot. Kayla Graham, actually a great technique here in the single buck, as Jess Swinemer has a few hang-ups on the left-hand side of your screen, but look at Kayla Graham using the whole blade, taking all kinds of advice here from Jeff Larkin. He's doing a great job here wedging for her. She gets into the small, which is going to be driving it off here and set the time to beat at 20.2 seconds.
And Jessie's really struggling to the finish line. Kayla, first time we've seen you on Lumberjacks TV series. Just tell me about where you learned the skill, though, single buck.
Yeah, I played in the college league for 5 years in the SELA division with the AC team.
Now I see your wedger there, Jeff Larkin. He's probably got a little bit of experience. Is he helping you out, coaching your way through that?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Just tell me about your cut a little bit.
Well, the top was a little bit rocky, but after I got myself under control, I think it went okay from there.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And some great technique there by Kyla Graham. She's relatively new in the sport. She certainly has a lot of potential. We're going to head into the second heat of the women's single buck. A couple of veteran competitors here. Caitlin Carroll taking on Janet Walker.
Both girls are national champions, and their ability in the single buck is very, very similar, so this should be a really tight race right to the end.
16 inches around, and the wood is looking really nice and clean here for the single buck. The sawyers certainly appreciate it. Not going to damage any saws or break any teeth on this kind of wood.
Not all, unless there's a hidden knot inside of it. But both girls starting out here in the single buck. You see Caitlin Carroll having a little bit of trouble getting her saw going. Janet Walker already in the groove, nice long strokes.
Nice pace there by Janet Walker right from the start. Now Caitlin's trying to play catch up. She struggled at the beginning, but she's into the groove right now. It's going to be a race to the finish.
It's a rough cut for Caitlin Carroll. She's rocking the saw a lot, but her saw is actually out-cutting Janet, and it's going to be Caitlin Carroll with a time of 24.3.
And it looks like Kyla Graham from the previous seed is going to win this thing.
So Caitlin, that was a nice single buck. Do you want to tell us how your cut went?
Well, I haven't been training as much as I'd like to. So if everyone notices that my feet go all crooked at the front and hung up a couple of times, but for not having many cuts in this year, it's pretty good, I think.
So what was going on with your front foot there with your cleats? I see they weren't digging in. You were slipping a little bit. Do you need new spikes or what?
Well, they're a little bit dull, but I think where this is new wood too, I didn't step down on it hard enough, so it didn't actually end up going into the wood. It just kind of stayed on top and ended up acting like a skate. So it wasn't going well.
Well, looking at the replay, it didn't look like she had any problems with her feet at all. She came in second place with 24.35, and Kyla Graham does win it with just over 20 seconds.
Closed captioning is brought to you by 1867 Confederation Log and Timber Frame, Canada's leader in log and timber frame homes since 1979. This is living.
Well, it's nice to see that carving portrait of Scott Reed time and time again every time you come to the town of Truro, Nova Scotia, where he is king of the Lumberjacks these days. Now we head into the axe throw. A little bit earlier, we're into some chopping and some sawing. Now the axe throw, we're going to be showing you the top 5 competitors. Earlier in the day, we had all the competitors throwing the axe, and there's a bullseye for Marcel Dupuis to start the game off. But earlier in the day, we had all the competitors doing the preliminaries. We are down to the top 5 finalists. Marcel Dupuis getting into his second throw.
Yeah, and a bullseye for your first throw. Sometimes that plays with your head a little bit. You know that you got a good throw going. And it does here. Look at that, Marcel dropping down. Looks like he's only going to score a 1 or a 2 on this one.
Well, and head judge Darren Colford gave him a 1. He's got a 2 throw, a total of 6. He's going to be disappointed with that.
Marcel Dupuis, a firefighter in his day job, and of course he used to run around and compete on the weekends at the firefighting competitions. He seemed to fade out of that a little bit as he started getting better and better at the lumberjack sports, and of course now he spends most of his time traveling around to a lot of big lumberjack shows all across North America.
Well, we know Marcel's going to be disappointed with a 3 throw total of only 8 points. He's not really going to finish in the money very much at all. What happens here? He gets a bullseye to start with, but then he drifts down and he drifts up.
Yeah, and if I was to take a guess, Bill, I'd say it was hitting that bullseye right off the bat, and then it just played with his brain. Of course, things are really quiet during the axe throw. There's not a whole lot of noise going on around you, so it gives you a little bit of time if you don't have good mental control for that to play with your brain.
And here's Nate Cumberland stepping up his first throw just off a little bit to the left. He's got to be happy with that. Very close to the bullseye. That's going to score him 4 points at the get-go.
Well, Nathan just graduated from high school just 2 years ago, and of course, this summer he spent some time working at Maple Leaf Homes, and now he's working at the Forestry Complex on the grounds crew. Oh, as he throws a bullseye here for his second throw, he's got to be loving that. Really tight, though, with that top point of touching.
He's very zeroed in right now. He's got a 4 in his first throw, a 5 in his second throw. He's got a chance to put a good wrap on this thing. If he can get in a bullseye, he's going to have a 3 throw total of 14. Oh, and looks like he just misses the bullseye. Yeah, Darren Colford's going to give him a 4. He's got to be happy with that for a 3 throw total of 13 points. He's going to be in the money for sure. He's zeroed in on this axe target.
Of course, Nathan's a tall guy, 6'4", so he has to actually take a wide stance on the line there to get his eyesight down at that 5-foot level, and he does a good job here. All 3 throws right around that bullseye.
He is right in there. He's got a 3 throw total of 13 points with only 3 more throwers to go. This one's Mario Bourque, and Mario's an excellent axe thrower. He's been around for quite a years. He's one of the veteran competitors here, and you can see how relaxed he is. He's zeroed in on the target as well.
Mario actually, over the years, either hot or cold in the axe throw. So, and I see him drifting off right there to a 3 that may bother him a little bit. But Mario's lots of good bullseyes there. When he gets in the zone, he can throw bullseye after bullseye.
Now, Mario lives in New Brunswick, and he's one of those guys that's one of those weekend warriors. Even though he's got 4 kids with Melanie Bourque, also a competitor, he does a lot of traveling in lumberjack sports. It's got a play on him because he goes to work on Monday morning as well.
Exactly, and of course he's got 4 kids under 10 years old, so I remember those days back when my kids were little. Ben and Nathan, of course, changing diapers on the hood of your truck between events. It's really tough, and of course we're seeing him here just competing. All we're seeing is him doing the action. You have no idea what's going on over in the competitors area and all the stress the guys are under.
Well, the amount of miles they put on, and you've got to have a very understanding wife, and Melanie Bourque is his wife, and she's a competitor as well. I mean, kudos to this couple here. 4 kids, still doing a lot of traveling in lumberjack sports, and still, Mario goes to a job on Monday morning.
Mario Bourque, like I said before, usually either hot or cold in the axe throw. He's a little bit of both here today. His first 2 throws wander off a little bit into the 3. Last throw is in there like we typically see Mario throwing for a bullseye. Right now, he's a 3 throw total of 11 points. He's going to be in second place right now, but with 2 good throws to come, not sure that's going to hold.
And here's Berlin Nickerson. Talk about a guy with a young family doing a lot of traveling. He lives in a place called Pubnico, Nova Scotia. He's a lobster fisherman. As soon as he gets in his truck to drive anywhere, the first thing he has to do, he's got to drive through the province of Nova Scotia to get anywhere.
Good thing about Berlin, of course, he's a lobster fisherman, so he's a seasonal worker. So he fishes a lot in the wintertime, a little bit in the summer, but then he has a long stretch of time where he actually has some time off. So he has a time to travel, and thank goodness, because like you say, it takes him a long time to get anywhere.
If he wants to go somewhere in the States, for example, he'll get on a ferry in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and go to Portland, Maine, and do that. That's going to cost him a lot of money. I think that ferry's worth about $400 one way, isn't it?
Actually, you're right, Bill. That's another really good point. These guys, we see them here competing. There's a lot of expenses that go into these guys traveling everywhere, you know, whether it's flying or taking a boat or driving with the price of gas right now. So Berlin's probably hoping he does get that 5, which he does. Darren Colford gives him a 5 because that's a little bit more prize money to cover off all those expenses.
Well, it's a 2-way tie for first place now with Nate Cumberland, Berlin Nickerson, both scoring at 13 points. 1 axe thrower still to come. It's going to be Paul Woodland. Berlin's got to be pretty happy with these throws and 13 points.
Berlin Nickerson used to be a log burler and pole climber, and of course now that he's competing in the East, those events just don't occur that much in the East here, so he's had to actually pick up his game in the axe events, which he's done quite well.
Well, we got a two-way tie for first place. Paul Woodland's going to try and break that tie and actually beat it. And he starts off with a bullseye. But Paul Woodland from Benton, New Brunswick, he's a logger. Now in 2016, what exactly is a logger?
What a great question. Loggers nowadays, of course, at one time they would use an axe or a chainsaw to knock trees down. Paul Woodland owns a pile of big gear. He's in the woods. He actually harvests trees every day, gets them out of the wood, gets them to the landing. So he's a woods processor. He's in there all the time. He actually also provides a lot of wood for the shows. I know Marcel Dupuis rounds a lot of the wood. Paul has good access to it because he's cutting every day.
Well, basically, he's contracting himself out for the logging companies to get some wood out, and so that's the way he makes his living. He's also an excellent axe thrower with 2 throws, a total point score of 10 points. That's 2 bullseye. Right now, he's going to try for 3 in a row, and this doesn't happen too often.
But Paul's in the groove right now. If anybody can do it, we know it's Paul, and he actually does that. Perfect throw of 15. You don't see that much anymore, but Paul Woodland's done it here at the professional show in Truro, Nova Scotia.
Hey, Paul, we've seen you axe throwing many times over the years. You probably got a few 15s in your pocket already, but just tell me the mindset in getting 15 in axe throw.
Well, I say it's pretty much all mental. You got to relax out there and keep a loose grip on the axe and just throw it. You can't guide it in there, you just got to throw it.
Now, I know for a fact that you're going to a big show next weekend, and axe throwing is going to be a big part of that game. There's going to be a lot of talent there as well. Is this maybe just a warm-up for that?
I'm hoping, I hope to repeat this for next weekend. That's that one there I want to win really bad.
Thanks for your time, Paul.
You're welcome.
Well, there it is, the final results in the men's axe throw competition. Keep in mind that these 5 guys made it through the preliminary round in a total field of 30 competitors.
And the crown pivotal point today focuses on Kyla Graham, just a young graduate from Dalhousie Agricultural Campus, stealing some first place points from 2 Canadian champions.
And it looks like we got a Cumberland sandwich here at the top of the leaderboard. Marcel Dupuis squeezed in there by Nathan and Ben. Nathan is now leapfrog Marcel for first place in the overalls with 350 points.
And our lumberjack of the day, it's a logger from Benton, New Brunswick, Paul Woodland, throwing 3 perfect throws in the axe throw, taking 100 points towards his overall total.
And once again, communities have to get behind competitions like this. Ryan McIntyre did a great job in rallying all these people together to put on the first annual Nova Scotia Lumberjack Championships. Come back again next week when it'll be time for Lumberjacks.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
We're going to talk about setting a springboard pole for the springboard event on a hard, flat surface like we have here today in a parking lot. In order to do it well, you need a large metal stanchion welded up to do the job efficiently for you. The large metal stanchion, it has 3 things. Number 1, it has a base where you can actually fasten the pole good and solid here at the bottom to take the wiggle out. Part way up, about 2 feet up, we actually wedge it good and solid so the pole has no back-to-back, side-to-side movement. And the third thing we need is a fairly wide base where we can set weight to hold the pole from moving at all when the competitor's up 9 feet chopping on the springboard.